Hello and welcome, race fans, to the iRacing Fantasy Cup Series Texas 167, presented by Alpha Ornamental Metals and Rapid Fired Pizza. This is race number 8 of the playoffs in the round of 8. This is the second race. Drivers trying to set themselves up to make it to Homestead for that championship round, and right now they're in qualifying. But before we head to the track, give you a quick preview of what you're going to see here tonight.
The sun beat down. I had the radio on. I was driving. Trees flew by. Me and Del were singing. The little runaway. Yeah, I was flying. Yeah, running down a dream that never would come to me. Working on our history. Going wherever it leads. Running down a dream. Yeah, running down a dream that never would come to me. Running down a dream. Oh, yeah, running down a dream.
As we head to the racetrack now, drivers out here on track qualifying. Right now it is Matt Cherry with the number 9 Mountain Dew machine on the racetrack. We bring up our qualifying ticker here so you guys can follow along and see where these drivers are going to start tonight. Already a couple minutes in and only 3.5 minutes or so remaining. But let's go over our playoff grid coming into tonight's race here at Texas Motor Speedway. Alex Pelican locked into the championship round with his victory last week at Martinsville Speedway. There is no broadcast for that race, so unfortunately we were not able to cover it, but Alex capturing his 3rd victory of the season and in clutch fashion. He's been so strong on those short tracks this year, and gonna lock himself into Homestead based on the nature of winning at the paperclip there. And Jonathan Hernandez comes into the race here in 2nd on the playoff grid with 2 wins on the season, 31 points above the cutoff, so pretty safe right now. Jacob Shorba right there behind him, also 2 wins, 26 points above the cutoff line. But nobody is 100% safe, as every driver is within 55 points of each other right now. So it's going to be, or actually every driver within, looks like 41 points of each other. So it really is up for grabs if someone has a bad night. You can see Eric Wineland and Brian Pizzakemi right there, the cutoff line between them. But if one has a bad race, one has a good race, anything can jump around. It's really up to the drivers here to try and finish tonight's race with solid points. But mainly just to finish, I think, is going to be the key to setting yourself up nicely for ISM next week. And of course, after ISM, we head to the Homestead Speedway for the championship round. But that is what it's looking like right now for your playoff grid. Spencer Tart on the racetrack putting his qualifying lap in, as Eric Wineland currently sitting on the top spot, 34 thousandths of a second up on Jonathan Hernandez, and Curtis Valenzuela right there behind him, just about a 10th off. But tonight's weather and racetrack conditions, the air temp is 65 degrees and track temp is 78, so should be plenty of grip and very similar to the track temps that we saw yesterday for the National Series race, which ended up being quite a race of attrition. And Evan Longacre came out on top in his rapid-fired pizza machine. Was also a sponsor of tonight's event. We want to give a big shout out to the rest of the sponsors here. That is Shorba's Racing Graphics, as well as iRacing iFlag for sponsoring the iRacing Fantasy Series. And of course, Alpha Ornamental Metals for everything they do for this particular series. As it looks like Justin Carey making his way out onto the racetrack. He comes in last on the playoff grid out of the 8 drivers, so we'll have to see how Justin does here tonight as he makes his way up onto the banking. Not going to have enough time to get a lap in as far as I can tell. So just trying to get a feel for the race car here, get it up to speed, and get a little bit more time in the seat here. As Brandon Andrews puts his lap in, he's going to come across the line there in the 4th position, right behind Spencer Tart. And hello, Blazer Pete. Thanks for tuning in. As the drivers now wrapping up the qualifying session, and we are going to go to our starting grid. So let's see where your favorite drivers are starting in tonight's race. On the pole, it's Eric Wineland, our playoff driver, right at the cut line. He takes the pole position here tonight at Texas. Jonathan Hernandez is going to be rolling off on the outside of the front row in second, and he is looking for a solid run here tonight as well. In third, it's Spencer Tart. In fourth, it's going to be Brandon Andrews, another playoff driver. Curtis Valenzuela starting in 5th. Matt Cherry starting in the 6th position. Cody Jordan, who came so close to winning last night in the National Series, going to be rolling off in 7th position. And Alex Pelican locked into the Final 4 at Homestead, rolling off in 8th position. Christopher White going to be starting in 9th. John Jones rounds out the top 10. Ryan Strunk going to be rolling off in the 11th position. Frank Wineset starting in 12th. Taylor Butcher Benjamin starting in 13th. Chris Etcheper rolling off in 14th. Chris is a playoff driver. Dusty Applin rolling off 15th. Alan Hunt starting in 16th. 17th is Christopher Hill. 18th is third place in the playoffs, Jacob Shorba in the 18th position. Dakota Jorgensen rolling off 19th, who finished runner-up last night in the race, the Nationals race here tonight, or at Texas. Brian Pizzakemi rounding out the top 20 on the grid here tonight. Richard Springer rolling off 21st. Justin Carey, of course, like I mentioned, coming in last out of the 8 playoff drivers, so he needs a great run, rolling off 22nd. Alex Link starting 23rd. Tim Williams 24th. Chris Hansen 25th. Jordan Brockle 26th. And that is going to do it for our field here. Just 26 drivers on the grid. And Eric Wineland going to be the one to get him rolling here, along with Jonathan Hernandez. Those cars starting to get moving. Looks like Wineland's still sitting there, as he now gets that car fired up and rolling. It's going to be 167 laps here tonight at Texas Motor Speedway, and shout out your favorite driver so we can follow along with them throughout the race tonight and name your pick for the winner of tonight's event in chat. We want to hear who you're cheering for and who you think can take this one tonight. Is it going to be a playoff driver, or will it be a non-playoff driver to try and spoil the party? 167 laps here tonight. First stage will end at lap 42. Second stage will end at lap 84. And then from there, we will sprint to the finish at lap 167. But these guys rolling into turn number 3 now. It's going to be Eric Wineland and Jonathan Hernandez on the front row. Behind them, it's going to be the 42 machine of Brandon Andrews and the 8 of Spencer Tart. I believe Spencer may have been out for a couple races, but good to see him back here in the series. As green flag in the air, we are underway for playoff race number 8 of the iRacing Fantasy Cup Series, sponsored by Alpha Ornamental Metals. The field fanning out as they go down into turn number 1. This new aero package going to keep everybody pretty close together for the first 5, 10, maybe 15 laps, and then we might see some separation, but it's going to take a little while as the 12 holding right down by that white line will roll down into turn 3 and 4, and he will hang on to the lead, at least for the first lap here, as Brandon Andrews looks underneath, but not going to have the run. And caution already out on the speedway. Looks like possibly the 77 of Ryan Strunk caught up in this one, as well as Jordan Brockle. Both of those drivers were in the playoffs, but eliminated in the earlier rounds. Let's see what happened here. The 77, need to get a better view of that. Ryan Strunk goes into the corner. Looks like the 32 had checked up for the 66. He gets sent around by Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Trying to hang on to it. He drifts back up into the wall. And Jordan Brockle just nowhere to go, I guess, at the tail end of that. Yeah, just could not avoid it, I guess, as the 77 was bouncing off the wall. He runs into the 14, and then, yeah, 2 kind of stopping right there, right at the edge of the apron, and Jordan unable to avoid it. So going to be heavy damage for the 2 and the 77. 14 got hit in the back there. And it looks like we do have a few drivers coming down the pit lane. But it's already under caution here, about 3/4 of the first lap. And right now the top 13 staying out on the racetrack. So we want to take this moment to let you know about Alpha Ornamental Metals. We solve your ornamental metal needs, including steel, aluminum, and iron. Also home of the Streamline Railing. Located in Chesterfield, Virginia. You can check them out at facebook.com/Alpha Ornamental Metals. The link is in the chat. So check those guys out. Give them your support, as they are supporting the iRacing Fantasy Cup Series, whose season is starting to come to a close. Only 2 more races after this one, and we will be crowning a champion in this series. And Eric Wineland leading the field right now under this first caution. Let's hear a quick word from some of our other sponsors, and we'll be right back with the green flag. Or actually, it looks like the pace car lights are off, so we won't cut to commercial break. Nice short caution here with no wave around cars. Looks like Wineland going to jump to the outside lane, and the 42 Brandon Andrews going to move down to the inside here. So we'll be getting the green flag here. Nice short caution. That is, that's great for us. As they work their way out of turn number 4, the field being led by Brandon Andrews and Eric Wineland. And back underway. The number 12 gets a great jump there. Jonathan Hernandez up to the outside of Brandon Andrews. He's going to try and clear him down into turn 1. And not quite as stacked up as they were on that first start. Now the 8 of Spencer Tart looking to the outside of Brandon Andrews, trying to find running room up high, and he's going to have plenty of room as nobody is really even close to him. He sends it way in that higher groove, and you can pretty much go flat out here for a few laps with this new aero package. As you see everybody just sucking right up to the back of the car in front of them. Spencer Tart way down, touches the grass there, but going to be able to get underneath Brandon Andrews. Very aggressive move in the early going here for Mr. Tart, as the 9 machine of Matt Cherry right underneath Andrews now. So the 42 losing a couple spots in that exchange. He's going to try and find a spot in the low line. Not going to be able to do so as the 36 of Valenzuela now in that line, but the 42 is clear, but he elects to stay up high for the moment. And now the 36 able to get underneath. Spencer Tart washing up the track here. He's going to be under attack from the 9 of Matt Cherry. And here comes Jonathan Hernandez peeking the nose down low, trying to find a way around Eric Wineland. As this is the battle for the top 5 positions. Let's see who's running just outside the top 10. Tim Williams here in the 96, who's had a couple good runs, but not quite the finishes that he would like. Right now behind playoff driver Chris Etcheper in that 41. And they are side by side, quite a few rows deep here at the front. Right now Alex Pelican, who has nothing to lose tonight, he's already locked in. He's racing now underneath Brandon Andrews, who continues to fall. Now finds a place in line behind Pelican. Spencer Tart, aggressive move once again, goes to the outside of the 9 into turns 1 and 2. Gives him plenty of space. The 9 touches the apron, and they will remain side by side, but this is getting crazy back here with Pelican, John Jones, Cody Jordan, all of those guys. They are really pushing on each other here, as Alex Pelican leaving a bit of room for Brandon Andrews to get some air on the nose. Now the 3 will jump up high. Now he comes back down to the low line, so you can really work a lot of different approaches to turn entry, and if you want to have success here, you're going to need to save the tires on the long run and be able to make passes late in the going, which is very, very difficult with this new aero package. The tires burning up so quickly unless you are the leader. And Eric Wineland hanging on to that top spot right now. He has led every lap so far. 10 out of the 10 laps, now working on lap 11 in tonight's event. We have a car down on the low line. That must be Jordan Brockle, who's trying to make his way back to pit lane. Actually going to go around, but was giving way to those lead lap cars. As right now, third position really under fire. Jonathan Hernandez still not able to find a way around. He's right on the back bumper of Eric Wineland. Curtis Valenzuela now up to the high line. Here comes Chris Etcheper, who's worked from 10th position now up to 6th. And he sets his sights forward on Brandon Andrews and Matt Cherry. Meanwhile, back here, Justin Carey trying to find his way forward. Racing with Taylor Butcher Benjamin, who has damage. And the 15 of John Jones. Now Carey down at the inside. He moves to the 12th position. He's going to follow the 11 here into the corner. And now he jumps to the outside, going to try and get around Taylor Butcher Benjamin. that way, the hard way. He'll run in the tire tracks of Alex Pelican, last week's winner. A little farther back, Alex Link racing it up with Brian Pizzakemi. Dusty Apple. Oh, we got spinning on the back straightaway. The 14 of Richard Springer, the 20, the 24, the 51, 32, all those drivers involved. Looks like maybe the 14 was at the start of this, but let's go take a look. And I actually think it was maybe Dakota Jorgensen. Gets on the apron there, going up the track behind John Jones. The 15 gets a tap from the 24, and they all kind of go around. The 20 hard into the wall, and the 24 most likely going to be done. The 20 washing back up the track. 51 machine of Alex Link, I think, was just sliding while getting on the brakes. He was on the brakes hard, and he gets slammed into by the 32 machine, Christopher White, who obviously did not notice what was going on up front. See, they're really slowed up. He just comes flying in there. Alex Link pays the price. He's not going to be too heavily damaged, I don't think, but definitely not where he wanted to be. Early on in this race, Alex has run fairly, very, very well the last few races. And not a good starting spot for him now. Early on in this event, Eric Wineland and the rest of the field making their way on to pit lane. And we'll see how these guys do getting off the pit road. 88 of Jonathan Hernandez is going to be very close. I think Eric Wineland will win the battle, and a couple very close battles at the exit. So Wineland wins the race off, and that is going to take us to our first commercial break of the evening. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the green flag. Back to the racetrack where the field works under caution number 2 here. On lap 18, we will be taking the green flag next time by. And if you're just joining us, this is the iRacing Fantasy Cup Series right now, live from Texas Motor Speedway. This is playoff race number 8 of this season's playoffs. And this is the second race in the round of 8. So one more race after tonight, and then we will move on to Homestead. And right now, Eric Wineland, Jonathan Hernandez at the front of the field. Eric Wineland once again electing to take that outside line. Jonathan Hernandez is going to be there on the inside. So 12 kind of laying back here. Now he moves up a little bit to get alongside the 88, but not sure how this is going to work. The 12 gets going. He's going to leave the 88 in the dust. The 42 of Brandon Andrews now going to try and get alongside and challenge for that second position. And he's probably not going to be successful. The low line so strong on those first few corners. Here comes Spencer Tart trying to make the move to the outside already on the 88, and Eric Wineland out in front by about 0.3 of a second, but that gap going to close very quickly. Spencer Tart now on the outside of Hernandez, still able to hang out there, but here comes the 88 with the run out of turn number 4. He's going to look low, he looks high, going to stay in line with Eric Wineland as we're now working on lap number 20 and about halfway through stage number 1 here tonight. The field 2 wide, a few rows deep here. Chris Etcheper, Alex Pelican racing it out side by side, and behind them Matt Cherry, that number 9 machine. And here comes Tim Williams now up inside the top 10. Tim up 14 positions from where he started. So doing a great job moving forward in that 96. Let's look a little bit farther back here. Jacob Shorba, I think the last of your playoff drivers on track right now, currently in the 13th position. He started back in 18th, but not moving forward quite at the pace I'm sure he would like. The 9 machine going around in front of him, though, as he spins it out down onto the grass, and caution's going to fly for the 3rd time. Matt Cherry going around. Let's take a look at what happened to Matt here. Down into 3 and 4, the 9 machine right there behind Chris Etcheper. He gets down too low, maybe a little loose, and then on the apron, that car just goes around. He could not hang on to it. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, what a job staying off of him. Let's go to the in-car cam there. With Taylor Butcher Benjamin, looking from the helmet cam. Really just had to check up multiple times. He didn't know which way the 9 was going to go. Somehow able to stay off of him. And great job avoiding that there and potentially receiving even further damage to what he already has. But at the front of the pack, Eric Wineland, Jonathan Hernandez continue to show the way. Wineland has led every lap so far, 22 out of the 22 we've run. And to recap, we've had 3 cautions now, and no one has taken that lead away from Eric Wineland. And we'll see if the 12 comes back down here. He will. And a split decision somewhat. Looks like Spencer Tart going to stay out on the racetrack. He will inherit the lead, so that will be our first lead change of the night. And Brandon Andrews, Chris Etcheper, Curtis Valenzuela, Alex Pelican, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, and Frank Wineset all staying on the racetrack. We started with 26 drivers here tonight, and currently working with 22 on the lead lap. Richard Springer working on getting damage fixed. I believe he was the lucky dog. As he tries to catch back up to the front of the field. He's going to try and capture as many points as he can, I'm sure. Just because of the habit of running races. It's good to try and capture as many points, run as many laps as you possibly can. And even if you think the car isn't going to be fully competitive, you still never know what's going to happen. And Richard right now trying to stay on that lead lap and get as much damage repaired as possible. Working on lap number 24. Coming to lap 25, this is caution number 3. We're still in stage number 1. just about a half hour into tonight's event. So we're going to cut to a side-by-side very quickly here, and we'll be back with the green flag. And we are back here. Pace car lights are off. The field's going to be going once again here. Stage number 1, playoff race number 8. And drivers trying to capture as many points as possible. Brandon Andrews looking for some stage points here as he comes in 7th out of the 8 playoff drivers. And really needs to make some gains here. The 8 of Spencer Tart gets him going, though. Chris Etcheper now to the inside of Brandon Andrews as they race side by side for that second position. Curtis Valenzuela right there behind them. But Eric Wineland, who was your leader, he now goes to the outside of Frank Wineset. He's got the 66 machine of Cody Jordan all over his back bumper. Now Jonathan Hernandez down to the inside. He's going to have a push from Tim Williams. We'll see if Hernandez is able to get by the 12, who's been so strong here. 12 up the track. And Jonathan Hernandez down low. He's going to take that position away. Here comes Cody Jordan along with him as they both move into the top 10. Wineland just in the 10th position now. Not going to capture too many stage points at that position, but things might be brewing up front. Spencer Tart out front. Here comes Chris Etcheper now to second. Alex Pelican has found his way up inside the top 5, and he gets by Brandon Andrews and working to the outside of Curtis Valenzuela. The 42 of Andrews dives it in there, trying to find a lane, trying to decide who to go with. He shoots way up the racetrack now. Here comes Jonathan Hernandez. Huge run through 1 and 2. With those fresher tires, he's going to look to the middle of the 36 and the 3. He'll back out of it and instead go behind the 36 down low, but trying to find his way back to the front as those top 2 have not gotten away. And this is going to be the battle for the lead and for potentially the stage win. Oh, the 36 goes around. He's going to go back up the track. And heavy contact with a couple drivers. The 36 of Curtis Valenzuela, his night is going to be over. Caution number 4 here. Let's go back and see what happened. Exactly. Looked like a little bit of contact with the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez. But only one way to be sure, and that's as we look here. They're coming out of the tri-oval. Little contact. 36 bounces off that inside wall way up the track. Oh man, hard contact. The 95 of Jacob Shorba. The 21 of Justin Carey. Ooh, and the 95 looks like he might be tracking a little bit sideways here. That is going to be bad news for playoff drivers. Jacob Shorba and the 21 of Justin Carey. Let's try and see what happens. Justin Carey up a little ways further. He gets slammed into. That car goes for a whirlwind. The 96 also caught up. And then the 95 of Shorba who got hit. Let's kind of see what happened here with Jacob. He gets tagged, able to keep that thing straightened back out, but he gets kind of stuck here. Able to avoid further contact, but the 96 of Tim Williams, he will be done. 21 of Justin Carey. That car is still moving, but definitely not in an ideal position at this point in the race so early on. Such heavy damage. Back end completely missing off that car, and we'll have to see how long these guys sit on the pit lane. But heavy suspension and rear end damage to the 95 of Shorba, who came in third in points. And he's gonna see that car sit up pit road for quite a while. Alex Link was also caught up in this. And out in front, Cody Jordan leading the pack. Right in front of Eric Wineland, who is on same tires. Those two electing to stay out, and they are the only ones to stay out. Spencer Tart going to win the race off pit road, followed by Alex Pelican, Chris Etcheper, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Brandon Andrews, John Jones, and Richard Springer, your top 10. And DCC, yeah, we've had a few cautions here, 4 cautions actually. To recap, just a couple lead changes at the front. But thanks for tuning in. And for all you other fans out there, this is V-Speed if you're just tuning in. We're live tonight on Twitch. If you're enjoying the broadcast, please consider following or subscribing. You can also find us on YouTube, where we post race replays as well as other great content. You can also find us on Facebook, where we post announcements before each and every broadcast throughout the race. And you can find us on Instagram and Twitter, where we post those same announcements as well as special events and new merchandise. If you're enjoying the iRacing Fantasy Cup Series action you see on your screen, you can get yourself some awesome merchandise to support the league, support V-Speed as well. A portion of each sale goes directly into the league funds of either the hat or the t-shirt, and the first 25 to use the code FANTASY5 will save $5 on your purchase of $10 or more. And you can use that code on any product in store or any purchase over $10. And that store is going to be at vspeedsim.com/shop. Check out what we've got over there, see what you like, and use the code FANTASY5 to save on your purchase. So right now, Cody Jordan leading the field. Eric Wineland right behind him. I think we may be getting the one to go this time. Pace car lights are going to turn off, so we've had nice short cautions here tonight, which definitely speeds things up a little bit. But already 4 of them, and the field's starting to get thinned out. We started with 26 drivers, and we are down to 19 on the lead lap, and about 4 drivers completely out of the event. Just 34 laps into it, so it's been a rough start. We'll see if these guys can clean it up here and at least get us to the end of stage number 1. But the 66 of Cody Jordan out in front, he ran so strongly here last night in the National Series and losing the lead in the final corner to the eventual winner, Evan Longacre, the rapid-fired pizza machine, came out on top. He's locked into the Nationals playoffs. But Cody Jordan looking for a victory here tonight if he can manage. And right now in a good position to potentially take stage number 1 away, as they will take the green flag here in just a moment. Pace car down pit road. And the 66 gets him going. Green flag back in the air. Cody Jordan across the start finish line. Eric Wineland now under attack from Spencer Tart as they go side by side down into the corner. Alex Pelican all over the back bumper of the 12. as he stays up high, going to try and find running room out there. And the field definitely thinned out a little bit in terms of competitive race cars, but Spencer Tart on those brand new Goodyear Eagles right to the back bumper of Cody Jordan. As he is in the tire tracks, looks down low, gonna stay in line though, and not make that move down the front straightaway. But he is all over the 66. You can see how much better he can cut off the exit there as he goes to the inside. Cody Jordan out high. Here comes Eric Wineland following through as well, and Wineland looking for great stage points here if he can get them as he comes in right at the cut line to make it to Homestead. And the more he can do here throughout this race, the safer position he will be next week. Definitely going for a win here as he's looking now to the outside of Spencer Tart. He will have the nose out to the quarter panel. Gonna try and get the push from the 41, but no help there. The 41 now goes to the inside, the 12 all by himself up high. Here comes Echeper down low, not enough space to make the move right on the back bumper as they now go down into the corner. And the 8 of Spencer Tart able to hang on to the lead here. Echeper now into second. Eric Wineland side by side with Cody Jordan. Alex Pelican way up the racetrack. And the 42 of Brandon Andrews. Right in here, the 66 tags the 12, and they go around the 42 of Andrews. Those are 2 playoff drivers. Another 2 playoff drivers caught up here. And Eric Wineland, Brandon Andrews caught up in that one. Let's go take a look. Wineland was in the middle here, and that's definitely a dangerous spot as the 66 down low. I'm not sure what happened exactly. Looks like he got loose and drifted up the track. 42 nowhere to go as he was headed straight for Eric Wineland. That will send Brandon Andrews quite a ways back. He goes for a spin down through the grass there. Not sure who else got caught up in this. The 66 of Jordan, obviously heavy damage on that race car. He slammed into the outside barrier and will not win here tonight. Oh, wow. Very close call for a 34 of Alan Hunt, I think. Let's go on board with Alan here. Actually, I don't think it was Alan. That was the 37 machine of Chris Hansen, who just snuck right past there in his Nerf Camaro. Wow, that door just barely opened up in time for him to get through, and no damage on that race car. So great job by Chris to make it through that gap. Alex Pelican going to stay out on the racetrack here. Nothing to lose and everything to gain with this stage actually going to be wrapping up here. And I'm not sure if that was the end of the stage or not. We'll have to hear from race control whether or not yeah, and unfortunately, yeah, Cody's going to be done here tonight. I think he's still sitting on pit road. Not sure if he's even going to be able to roll that thing down off the pit lane. So let's see who else. Eric Wineland also sitting on pit lane trying to get damage fixed. Looks like he will potentially go a lap down. Not totally sure if he beat the pace car or not. Looks like it was close. Jacob Shorba was on pit road for over 50 seconds. Still trying to get the rear end aligned on that machine. So Shorba not in a position that he would like to be here early in this event. Alex Pelican out in front though. This is exactly what he would like. Looking for his second victory in a row. And I believe this is going to end the stage here. but we will definitely wait for word from race control. Maybe they can even post the results of that. Looks like this is how the stage ends. Spencer Tart wins stage number 1, the 41 of Chris Etcheper. Second, third was Alex Pelican. Fourth was the 11 machine of Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Fifth was Eric Wineland. Sixth was Matt Cherry. Seventh was the 15 of John Jones. Eighth was the 32 of Christopher White. Ninth was the 14 of Richard Springer. And rounding out the top 10 in the stage was Brian Pizzakemi, that number 48 car. Brian bringing it back down pit road here to get a little bit more fuel in that race car, it looks like. Yeah, just a 4.7 second stop, and he's back on his way. Just topping off there. Is the field now working back around into turn number 3. Hey there, Jabo. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast. Right now, this is playoff race number 8 of the IRacing Fantasy Cup Series, presented by Alpha Ornamental Metals, and the 2 RCR machines on the front row now. Alex Pelican, Spencer Tart. Spencer Tart jumping the start a little bit there, and Pelican able to pull away, as now the battle for second heats up. And we are in stage number 2 at this point. Taylor Butcher Benjamin trying to get to that second spot, and a lot of race cars with damage here. You can see the 15 of John Jones right there inside the top 5. He has pretty heavy right front damage, and I think that's going to be the case for a lot of drivers, as we have only 18 on the lead lap and 4 definitely out of the race, and a couple more sitting on pit road. Battle back here between Matt Cherry and the 31 of Frank Wineset. Alan Hunt was able to slip past the 9. As 15 John Jones now dropping back, he's going to get passed up by Christopher White down going into turn number 3. The 8 of Spencer Tart up high on the outside of Taylor Butcher Benjamin, trying to battle for that second spot. He's got a good race car, as the 3 of Alex Pelican just blinking out there for a moment. We'll see if these guys can go a little bit longer here, try and make it to the end of stage number 2 under green, as we've already had 5 cautions in tonight's event, 4 lead changes among just a couple drivers really. But Alex Pelican finds himself out front, familiar position for that 3 machine. We'll see if he's got long run speed here. He's got older tires than everybody behind him, but doing a good job hanging on to that spot. Here comes the 11, gonna peak down low. Not gonna charge in underneath though, as he gives a push to Alex Pelican into the corner. And now he looks to the outside. There is space, and he'll try and squeeze up in front of Spencer Tart. Not gonna happen though, as they go 3 wide now. Here comes Chris Etcheper to the inside. These guys racing like it's the last lap of the season. And the 8 gonna lose out big there, as here comes the 41 of Etcheper down low. But now the 8 with a push from the 14 of Richard Springer. And he goes way up by the wall, maybe just to avoid all the chaos, but cuts way down the track now, looks to the inside of the 11 of Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Oh, and they make contact at the front, the 3 of Pelican, the 41 of Etcheper. Playoff drivers again. The pressure mounting. These drivers are not dealing with it well. And another caution out on the speedway. And similar position to what we saw before with the 36 and the 88. The 41 looks down low. The 3 just tries to shut the door, and the door was open for a little bit too long there. Alex Pelican and Chris Etcheper, heavy damage The 3 hit the wall a little bit at a better angle, just more of a glancing blow. But the 41 of Echeper going to be in serious trouble here. The front end of that race car absolutely destroyed. And that's caution number 6 on the speedway. All here in the first 50 laps. Jonathan Hernandez now to the front of the field. And we'll cut to another quick commercial break, and we'll be back potentially with a driver interview. Field working out of turn number 4 to get us going once again. 6 cautions in the first 50 laps here so far. We'll see if these guys can get us going for a nice green flag run. The 8 of Spencer Tart giving a big push to Jonathan Hernandez as they work across the start-finish line here. 53 goes up on the pylon here. Jonathan Hernandez out in front. And this is playoff race number 8. The IRacing Fantasy Cup Series. The playoff drivers having lots of issues. Currently your highest scored playoff driver is Jonathan Hernandez. Leading this event, Jacob Shorba, the next highest in 10th position. Basically all your other playoff drivers are 13th on back with damage or issues early on in this. Even actually now Shorba drops out of the top 10. That car does have issues. It's been tracking a little bit weirdly after getting caught up in an earlier wreck. The rear end is definitely offset from where it's supposed to be and going to slow him down quite a bit. As the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez able to hang on to the top spot right now. Spencer Tart putting a challenge on behind him, but not able to complete the pass. Cody Jordan finds himself now back on the lead lap after taking the wave around there. And we have a car down on the apron. Not sure who that is. Possibly Jordan Brockle. I believe it is Brockle. Continues to make laps out here. Only 4 laps off the pace. So it could be a lot worse for Jordan, who still rides in 19th out of the 26 starters here, but well off the lead lap. And he's going to have to hope for a handful more cautions to try and get back up there. But driver having a good race so far. Alan Hunt in that 34 machine. We saw him make a great do a great job avoiding a couple wrecks here early on. He does have some right front damage, but up 11 spots from where he started, so definitely a driver on the move as he sets his sights on the top 4, who have started to break a little bit away from the rest of the field. Hernandez continues to lead down the back straightaway. You see him running that very low line heading into the corner. Spencer Tart trying to push him in there, but the 8 drifting up just a little bit. Not able to get the run out as much as he would like there. And still about a half car length back. Now gets the bumper going into turns 1 and 2, but aerodynamically challenged when running behind someone for sure. The 88 still running the low line. The 8 car not able to make a move to the outside without help, but now he jumps out there, trying to get momentum out of the corner here. Cuts down low. Big run with a push from the 11. Now where does he go here? We've seen issues. Driver's making the move too late. He peaks low, but nowhere to go. And a little over 20 laps here in stage number 2. That'll get us right to around the halfway point of this event. Brian Pitskemi has found his way back inside the top 10. He's currently your highest playoff driver, other than Jonathan Hernandez, so the 2 Hendrick machines inside the top 10, and Brian making his way forward. Jacob Shorba definitely off the pace with the damage on that race car, currently running 2 or 3 tenths slower than the drivers around him. Actually a full second off of the leader's pace, so definitely issues. You can see that car just crab walking. Let's see if we can get another view of it. Looks like it's going a completely different direction than it needs to. And you'll see it here on the straightaway. The car just pointed completely in the wrong direction for Jacob Shorba. Currently rides in 14th, starting in 18th, and he comes in 3rd in the playoff picture, but unable to capture stage points there in stage number 1, and could be on the back foot here for ISM next week if he can't get that car fully fixed in time for the end of this race. Jonathan Hernandez, though, has a serious challenge out front. Spencer Tart was able to get to the outside, but unable to keep that position as he now drops back into the clutches of Taylor Butcher Benjamin and the 9 of Matt Cherry. That battle for 3rd. The 8 will drop down in line there behind the 11. He looks high, looks low, just nowhere to go. Is now the 11 of Butcher Benjamin. Big run down into the corner. Jonathan Hernandez trying to pinch him down there, not giving him a whole lot of room to work. And that will allow the 88 to hang on as they approach some lap traffic here going into turn number 3. Justin Carey, Chris Etchepair, playoff drivers going 1 lap down apiece. And they have damage on the opposite ends of their race cars. Justin Carey with no rear end, Chris Etchepair with no front end. And the 41 machine currently the lucky dog position, but Brandon Andrews not too far up in front of the leaders. Actually, quite a ways, still about a half track up in front of the leaders, but he's last car on the lead lap in 15th position out of the 26 starters we had here tonight. So race of attrition, and the playoff drivers have had a rough go in the Lone Star State tonight. Ryan Strunk continuing to try and recover. He's got tons of damage on that race car, but still pretty decent speed as he gets up to the back bumper of Christopher White. And Christopher White trying to make his way around Alex Pelican, who is 1 lap down now in the 16th position. And Alex with damage from the incident with the 41 machine as they both slammed the inside wall coming out of the tri-oval. And 32 Christopher White almost making contact with the wall there, but able to stay off of it. Now the 88 of Hernandez start to pull away from everybody except for Taylor Butcher Benjamin, who's hanging right there in his tire tracks. Let's go to the nose cam and see what Taylor is experiencing here tonight. Here there, almost no lifting as those two drivers pull away from Matt Cherry, who's gotten around Spencer Tart. Cherry up 3 spots from where he started in tonight's race, so doing a great job in this first half of the event. Spencer Tart touches the apron there. He's going to wash up the track and lose some ground to the 9, but he is right about where he started, just back 1 spot. He's led 13 laps, so Spencer's had a good race so far up here in the top 5. Pinzakemi moving forward up into the 6th position from where he started in the 20th spot. Only a couple seconds off your leader, and actually the fastest driver on the racetrack, even faster than his teammate who's leading this thing. So the Ally 48 looking a bit like Jimmy Johnson did here in the spring with a bit of speed in that race car. He washes now a little bit up the track behind the 34 of Alan Hunt, facing some aerodynamic challenges going through turns 1 and 2 there. We'll see what he's got for him in 3 and 4. Again, just kind of pushing up the racetrack on exit, so he's gonna have to find a way around without losing much time. Right on the back bumper. Christopher White back here battling it out with Ryan Strunk, the 32, actually losing out to the 77 as he's way up the racetrack, and Strunk down low. Possibly issues up here. No, everybody good, but it looks like the 48 of Pinzakemi gonna make his way around the 34, so move Brian Pinzakemi up into the top 5, and a great run going for the 48 here tonight. He stayed out of trouble early and is reaping the benefits of that. All the other playoff drivers suffering damage other than Jonathan Hernandez. And he's out in front, so the Hendrick machine's very quick because we've got 3 in the top 5. The other one is out of the event, so these guys doing a good job carrying the banner for Hendrick Motorsports. Hernandez now stretching away. The 11 of Butcher Benjamin under pressure from the 9 as Matt Cherry now to the inside, trying to steal that spot away. They'll go into 3 and 4. The 9 looks like he's got the run. Should be able to clear him here on exit. And he will. That'll relegate the 11 to 3rd position. We'll see if the 9 can go up there and chase down his teammate in the 88 machine. But Ryan Pizzakemi, let's see where he's at in comparison to Spencer Tart. Starting to close in on those top 4. Just about 2 seconds back from your leader. Go on board to the helmet cam here with Brian. Just a little blip of the throttle there as he runs over the bumps in turn number 2. You can see the car is pushing a little bit, but not getting loose at all, which can often be the issue with this new downforce package, especially on this end of the racetrack. He's working the wheel a little bit, working the throttle, trying to reel those guys in a little bit faster than your leader that time by. Actually fastest on the racetrack. And Jonathan Hernandez, your leader, the 2nd fastest. 3rd fastest was Matt Cherry. So the Hendrick machines 1, 2, 3 in terms of speed. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, the only other one really close to them in terms of lap time. As they lap the number 21 machine of Justin Carey, putting him 2 laps down and not where Justin wanted to be. Coming into tonight's event, 8th in the playoff standings. He's just seen those other playoff drivers drive away. He continues to fall through the standings here and lose out on points as we are about 6 laps away from the end of stage number 2. Jonathan Hernandez clearly out in front, over 0.8 of a second in front of his teammate Matt Cherry. Let's take a look a little bit farther back here. Looks like Frank Wineset inside the top 10 in front of Richard Springer. And Springer trying to stay out in front of Ryan Strunk, that car with no front end. Still making good lap time out here. And inside the top 10. And the 32, Christopher White, rim riding out there. Driving a little bit like Kyle Larson. That outside line, not usually the preferred line at this racetrack, but he's somehow making work up here in the top 10, about 9 seconds off your leader. Just kind of biding his time here, I think, for this 2nd stage. He's got a little bit of right front damage, so maybe going to get that fixed as they come down under caution at the end of the stage. But Hernandez out in front, 1.3 seconds. He has started to pull away from his teammate. And a driver starting to pull in. It's Alan Hunt, who's closed back in on the bumper of Brian Pizzakemi. He has reeled him right back in. So the 34 of Alan Hunt running some great laps out here. Maybe he had to cool the tires off a little bit. It looks like he's got kind of the opposite handling situation, maybe a little bit loose. So we'll ride on board here with Allen. Little push there in the corner, the arrow push from riding behind the 48. And then nicely out of turn number 2. We'll see what he can do here in 3 and 4. Just a couple laps remaining to the end of the stage. You see Spencer Tart get a little bit sideways. He is struggling up there, so these two are really starting to close in. Pizzakemi, Spencer Tart, that gap is closing now, just down to half a second. And that point is going to be critical to Pizzakemi, who comes in here on the outside of the cut line, currently the 5th position, with his closest competitor, Eric Wineland, 14 points above him. And Wineland is, I believe, out of the event. Now, Eric Wineland is sitting on pit road. He's been there for over 20 minutes, so lap number 83 goes up on the chart here. And the 48 and 34 closing in. They're going to have one more lap after this. And the gap now just a quarter of a second. So they are closing fast. So Richard Springer, Frank Wineset, Ryan Strunk, this battle getting good just inside the top 10. we'll keep an eye on that at the back of the camera shot. But 48 of Pizzichemi, he's going to have one more chance to do it here as he goes down to the inside. Spencer Tart gives him that lane. And that'll allow the 48 to get air on the nose down there. He's going to close in even more, but still a car length and a half the gap. And this is the hardest part, is getting past when you get that close. And it looks like the 8, oh, sideways there on turn entry. Really slow on exit. Here comes Pizzichemi. This is going to be a stage point if he can get it. It looks like he will not. The 8 dropping back there just a little as they get back in their correct order. Jonathan Hernandez going to win stage number 2. Great job there by Jonathan. He will earn a playoff point and stage points. So very important at this point in the season as he comes in second in the standings. And pretty comfortable, but that's just going to pad his comfort. Second place in the stage, Matt Cherry, the number 9 machine. Third was Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Fourth, Spencer Tart. Fifth, So fourth was Spencer Tart. Fifth is Brian Pizzichemi. Right now, they're just lined up where they were when the caution occurred. But Alan Hunt, 6th. 7th was Richard Springer. 8th was Ryan Strunk. 9th was Frank Weinset, who lost a couple spots there. And 10th was Christopher White. So all those drivers earning stage points. And Jonathan Hernandez most likely going to bring them down pit lane here. So they've been out there for 36 laps, almost the entirety of stage number 2. And surely the tire is going to be hurting. So he will bring it down the pit lane. You can see how that car is set up. The back end just so high, especially the left rear. They've got that thing really jacked up here. A lot of downforce being put on the left rear. But it's obviously working for the Hendrick machines as they finish all inside the top 5 at the end of stage number 1. Let's cut quickly to another commercial break. And we'll be back with more racing action. And we are back. Just going to be pulling in our current race leader, Matt Cherry. See if we can get a quick word in with him here before they take the green again. Matt Cherry, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, Matt, you find yourself in the lead here. Your teammate there in the 88, it looks like he took an extended pit stop there, but the Hendrick Chevy's working pretty well. You think you got enough to go out there and win this race tonight?
Probably not. of loose on a long run. I can't seem to fix it.
Yeah, tire wear is usually an issue, and the cars change a lot on the long run. But you guys worked pretty long on these the setups this week to get them ready for tonight's race.
I worked on mine for about 30 minutes tonight. I didn't really have time to do much to it, but if I ever get it figured out, I'm gonna try to tighten it up on my next pit stop. If we can get it a little tighter, we should be all right.
And you're looking pretty good out there as is, so be interesting to see how it goes for you when you get it fixed up. But good luck out there. Looks like you're taking the green.
10-4, appreciate it.
That's Matt Cherry, the number 9. I think he's a fill-in this week for that machine and doing a good job. Currently leading the way, taking over the lead as Jonathan Hernandez was on pit road for over a minute. Not sure what was going on there, but the 9 machine gets him going. The 11 of Taylor Butcher Benjamin maybe jumping the start there. We'll have to see what the race admins say about it. But the 9 going to be able to take over the lead regardless, and he's going to get a big push from Spencer Tart, who looks low. Not able to make the move yet. He still looks low. And that is an aggressive move. The 11 really having some connection problems here on this restart. He's in the 3rd spot right now. Ryan Strunk up into 4th in that what looks to be a modified race car. Somehow racing it up out here with these fairly undamaged race cars. So see, he's got to hang on to these positions, but he's got some hard charging drivers in the 48 of Pitsakemi and the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez right there behind him. As now the 34 of Alan Hunt going to try and get outside, and this is probably going to be quite a stack up as the 77 way off pace down low. 88 trying to go around, but nowhere to move. So he gets right to the back bumper. We saw contact with the 36 in a very similar situation earlier on. The 34 now trying to pinch down the 88. Here comes Hernandez way down low. He's on the apron, and that is not going to work for turn entry, but he comes back up on the banking. Now 3 wide, the 77 in the middle. And contact there. Pitsakemi almost makes contact, able to avoid the 77, but Strunk really having trouble in the middle there. Almost losing control. They were able to hang on to it and continue on. Spencer Tart takes over the lead from Matt Cherry while we were watching that. And the top 3 have really broken away. Jonathan Hernandez has found his way to the lead of the 2nd pack, but just about 1.5 seconds off your leader. And these top 3 only separated by 0.2 of a second. The 9 machine right on the back bumper. Nowhere to go. As he shoves the 8 down into the corner, though. Might get a run on exit. Here he comes. The 8 throws the block. The 9 is there. The 9 is there, I think. The 8 goes wide now. Going to be able to get the run. The 9 of Matt Cherry not able to attempt to pass. And as these guys race it out, Jonathan Hernandez starting to close in and bringing his teammate Ryan Pitsakemi with him. That's the gap from Hernandez up to the front. And I don't think Jonathan really has to even win tonight's race with the points that he's gained already in these first 2 stages. I think he's sitting pretty well to potentially even lock himself in with points as long as he finishes the race tonight. All the other playoff drivers having significant issues, and most of them off of the lead lap. It looks like we've only got Jonathan Hernandez, Brian Pitsakemi on the lead lap. Every other playoff driver is running 12th on back. Currently 12th for Alex Pelican, 14th for Jacob Shorba, 15th for Brandon Andrews, 16th for Chris Etcheper, 17th for Justin Carey, and 21st for Eric Wineland, who's been sitting on pit road for over a half hour, and I believe is going to call it a night here. So Spencer Tart out in front, the 9 and the 11 side by side for second. That is the battle to watch for sure, and that has brought in the 88 of Hernandez and the 48 of Pizzichemi. They have closed way in. So 5 cars in this pack, and then 2.5 seconds back to Alan Hunt. Seemingly nowhere to be found is now the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez, trying to find his way back to the point. And the 9 machine almost contact there with Taylor Butcher Benjamin. But they keep it going straight here, no issues. Working around the speedway, the 88 slips underneath the 90, or underneath the 9. Going down into turn 3, still not quite alongside, but the 9 can give him plenty of space. Jonathan Hernandez goes straight on past up to 3rd position. Sets his sights on the top 2. And we've hit lap 100. If you have not selected your favorite driver in the race, you should do so now and call him out in chat. Say who you think is going to win tonight's races. Jonathan Hernandez making a bold move, trying to go to the outside of Taylor Butcher Benjamin. The 11 through the block there. Here comes the 88 with the big run out of turn 4. Going to be closing in rapidly on the 11. Going to get alongside now in turn 1. Use that side draft to his advantage. They stay alongside one another. The 88 getting a pole from the 8 machine out in front. Jonathan Hernandez getting the nose out in clean air now, up to 2nd at the line that time. And Pizzichemi stuck here behind the 9 machine. Looks like he's playing a little bit more conservative, not going for the point just yet, with still quite a long ways to go. As Eric Wineland now back on the racetrack. 55 laps down, it is possible for him to gain about 2 positions here, with a couple drivers out of the event that are 34 and 46 laps ahead of him respectively. We'll see what Wineland can do, but meanwhile Jonathan Hernandez has cleared the 11 machine and right on the back bumper of Spencer Tart. Hernandez, we've seen him do this before. He did it at Dover. Charged back up through the pack to get to the lead and win that race. And with a couple victories on the season, definitely no slouch here in the Cup Series. Been very quick all year long. He's not had quite the luck that you would hope for when running up towards the front, but kind of making his own luck now as he takes the lead away. And Spencer Tart going to lose that spot and in danger of losing 2nd with Taylor Butcher Benjamin right there on the inside, fighting for the 2nd position. The 8 will slide down and clear himself going into turn 3. And they will ride 1, 2, 3 up here and a little gap back to Matt Cherry. A slightly smaller gap back to Brian Pizzichemi. But we'll see if those guys start to close in now that they've kind of settled things among the top 3. Richard Springer back here has gotten around Alan Hunt for the 6th position. But these guys are still racing up. Ryan Strunk battling with nobody at the moment, actually. That was the lap machine of Chris Etcheper. Chris Hansen back here in the 37 machine. He's fighting off the 3 of Alex Pelican, who is 1 lap down. Still making pretty decent speed out here. Still about a 2nd or so off the pace of your leaders. So Alex 1 lap down. And the 3rd highest of the playoff drivers, which is just crazy. Back here in 13th, 1 lap down. We only have 2 drivers in the playoffs on the lead lap, and that's the 2 Hendrick machines. Jonathan Hernandez and the 48 of Pizzichemi. But that battle for 2nd still raging on, and Matt Cherry is closed back in, so 3-way battle for 2nd. Pizzichemi kind of left in the dust. About a 2nd back of these guys. We'll see what he can do to close in on this battle. And the more they race side by side, the faster he will close in. So it just widens that draft. It means less air pressure on the nose of the 48, so he can just scoot on up on the straightaways. He'll lose a little bit of time in the corners, but will gain that back on these straightaways as he is closing in, gained about a 10th that last lap. So at that pace, he'll be there in about 3 or 4 laps. And Matt Cherry looking really seriously down to the inside there, was not able to make it work. Oh, big slide from Spencer Tart. He's hanging on to it. He'll go through the grass. Still trying to hang on to it. As he comes up the racetrack, the 48 machine to his outside. Spencer Tart will drop to 5th. It's such a huge gap back to Alan Hunt, so he will just hang on to that spot. But dirty tires and superheated tires definitely going to cost him even more time. But only 23 laps into this, so obviously tires playing a role here already at this point. And Jonathan Hernandez just driving away, and now up 1.2 seconds, 1.3 seconds over Taylor Butcher Benjamin, who has cleared himself of Matt Cherry and the 48 of Brian Pizzakemi. With the top 4 all within 3 seconds of each other, so it's really, it's still not settled. Hernandez has a lead, but anything can happen here on this long run. With the field so spread out, we most likely will get a green flag pit stop. Hendrick machines in the top 4. The other driver, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, in the Hendrick sandwich. This is his view out the front. You can see Jonathan Hernandez working around the lap machine up there. I'm not sure who that was. Possibly Brandon Andrews. Brandon Andrews in the 15th position. He goes now a second lap down. That leaves only 11 drivers on the lead lap and only 14 one lap down or less. So Jonathan Hernandez setting a rapid pace here, and he's now bringing Brandon Andrews with him, so maybe a little bit of help there from the 42. And help for the 42 is now the 11 goes to the inside. I think Brandon's just going to let him go, knowing that he does not have the pace to keep up with these guys with the heavy damage on that race car. The 11 will drive past here. Brandon slots down in line. Maybe going to give the 11 a little bit of a push here down the straightaway if he can get back to him. Nice little green flag run here. This is a chance to let you know that this is a presentation of the IRacing Fantasy Cup Series, brought to you live here on V-Speed. Sponsor of tonight's race is Alpha Ornamental Metals. I'll give a big shout out to them. You can check out their info in the chat. Also, if you enjoyed tonight's broadcast, please consider following or subscribing here on Twitch. You can also find us on YouTube, V-Speed Media, where we post race replays and other great content. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/VSpeedSim, where we post announcements for each and every broadcast, as well as other awesome news. We post that same news over on Instagram and Twitter. Back to the racetrack here out in front. Jonathan Hernandez losing his lead now to Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Not sure exactly what's going on with the 88, but the 11 is cut about a half second off the lead. Now within draft range. And that will just reel in the 11 once again. And Taylor Butcher Benjamin having some connection issues still, about 3/4 of a second back. Matt Cherry here in the 3rd position has pulled away from Brian Pizzakemi, who rides in 4th, and I think Brian just trying to get a nice solid run here. And we'll see what they do for pit strategy with just about 50 laps to go now. Fairly spread out inside the top 10. We do have some battles going on just at the tail end of the top 10. Frank Mindset here on back bumper, Ryan Strunk. And up in front of them, it's Richard Springer, Alan Hunt, those two fighting it out. Duking it out here for 6th and 7th position. And they ride right now about 4 seconds back of Spencer Tart. 14 obviously struggling a little bit on corner exit where the 34 is good, but so hard to make that pass behind another driver. As he gets in the draft of the 14, both drivers with damage. Looks like Brian Pinskemi starting to close back in on the 9 of Cherry. And Eric Wineland back on the racetrack. That car looks pretty good. It's actually putting down times competitive with the top 5. So right back where he was before getting in that incident. But he is 55 laps off the lead. So not going to be a great points night for the 12. He came in just above Brian Pinskemi by 14 points, and I think that gap going to equalize pretty well here as we see the 9 machine losing control. He's able to hang on to it. Holy cow, that was a close call. The 9 touches the apron, the back end steps out from underneath. He does hang on. Very close call for Pinskemi. And Spencer Tart now just a few seconds behind, but still trying to recover from his own mistake. And no doubt the tires on that 9 machine are probably pretty gone. The 48 here gets to the back bumper. We'll see if he can make a move going into turn 1. Looks like he'll jump to the high line. Now looks to the low line, but in the draft, you can see it just pushes way up the racetrack, not where he'd like it to be. Trying to get that run on the high line. Taylor Butcher Benjamin still riding in 2nd. Let's go to his nose cam. That's the view of your leader out front. The 11 still having some connection issues, so let's look from the back of Jonathan Hernandez instead. Looks like the 11 machine bringing it down pit road. That will probably be his last pit stop. 38 laps into this stint. Continuing to have connection issues. Matt Cherry, Brian Pinskemi, all the Hendrick machines out there. It looks like everybody else remaining on the racetrack. Only Taylor Butcher Benjamin bringing it down. But it's a Hendrick top 3 right now. The 88, the 9, and the 48. 9 now taking down pit lane. Jonathan Hernandez remains on the racetrack, but now we have a couple takers on the pit lane. And when is that 88 going to make the move? How important are tires here tonight? This will be a testament to that, as he looks like he might be coming in. Yeah, slowing it up here, coming down the pit lane. Locking those brakes up pretty good there, but able to slow it up. Brian Pinskemi will also bring it down here. And here comes Spencer Tart as well. You get some fresh Goodyear Eagles on that machine. Alan Hunt will take over the lead. He has not technically led a lap yet, but looking to possibly do so here. Here comes the 11 machine of Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Right up behind him. We'll see what Taylor's got. If he can leapfrog the 88. The 11 car was hanging right there with him, about 0.8 behind. Jonathan Hernandez rolling through turns 1 and 2. Taylor Butcher Benjamin already passed Brian Pinskemi. And What is that difference going to be? Jonathan Hernandez going into turn 3, so he had a great pit stop, pit entry. Taylor Butcher Benjamin is a ways back still, but they both find themselves on the lead lap. The 11 just in front of your leader, Alan Hunt. And it's going to be about the same run to the finish for these guys. Let's see what the gap is out the front. A huge difference. Even though the 11 pitted earlier, he must have had some kind of problem getting onto the pit lane or getting off. He is over 3 seconds behind, so losing over 2 seconds after pitting sooner is just not the right direction at all. So Jonathan Hernandez looks to be in pretty good shape here. If he can just run this thing out to the end and we don't get any kind of cautions, it looks like the 88 in a good spot to possibly win this and lock himself into Homestead. But we are going to go to a quick green flag side by side, and we'll break in if there's any kind of action or caution on the racetrack. But we will be right back. We are back to the racetrack here, right at the top of the boards once again. Jonathan Hernandez is your leader. He captures it through the pit cycle. He has gained a ton of time over his closest competitors. Matt Cherry now taking over second from Taylor Butcher Benjamin. He's got slightly fresher tires, just 1 lap fresher, but they battle it out for that second spot, about 4.5 seconds off your leader. Spencer Tart able to leapfrog the 48 machine of Brian Pizzakemi, who's just a little ways back from him. So definitely not some great times getting on and off pit road for a few of these drivers who lost quite a bit, even trying to undercut the leader. They were not able to do so. We saw Jacob Shorba was in the top 10 temporarily. He now drops to 11th with 50 laps on his tires. He's hoping for some kind of a yellow here that he could possibly get back on the lead lap or just back to 1 lap down, but the 95 in trouble here and no caution is flown yet. He continues to ride out there, probably only has a few more laps that he can go before he must make that final pit stop. And a little under 30 laps to go. It's looking like Jonathan Hernandez with a pretty serious advantage, up 5.5 seconds over his teammate, Matt Cherry, who races it out now with Spencer Tart and Taylor Butcher-Benjamin. So Spencer Tart has closed right in on these two. And they are just slowing themselves down doing this, and that 88 car is just scooting away more and more, running about 2 or 3/10 of a second a lap faster. Each and every lap as these guys fight it out for that second spot. Well, best of the rest as that 88 is just dominated here. The 9 car has been pretty stout, no doubt about it, but he has not had the speed to compete with the 88. They are really fighting it out here. The 9 has taken over that position. Now the 8 is Spencer Tart, who has rebounded pretty well from his incident going through the grass there. Oh, but a little bit sideways out of the corner. He'll drift up right in front of the 11. Now looks to the outside of Matt Cherry. Brian Fitzkemi a little bit farther back. He still rides in the top 5 and second highest of your playoff drivers, trying to set himself up nicely for ISM. The 8 car really aero tight there. It looks like here comes the 11 back to the inside, and those two racing it out side by side might be enough for the 9 to break away. Again, so far behind your leader. Oh, but we've got the 12 of Eric Wineland going around. That's going to bring a caution out. And forget it all, the 12. Eric Wineland bringing out a caution here. Let's go see what happened. Racing it out with the 77 of Ryan Strunk, the 42 Brandon Andrews, the 42 off the wall. 15 of John Jones gets right into Eric. Not too far in front of your leader there. That was pretty dramatic. You see the 88 of Fernandez. He just skates right past there with Alex Pelican in his tire tracks. And that caution coming out just a little bit too late for Jacob Shorba, who had just pitted. Now 3 laps down. He can at least take a wave around, but not going to be any kind of benefit that I'm sure he was hoping for. Probably frustrating for that driver. But this will restack the deck, and going to be a little bit less than 20 laps to the checkered flag. And I think we'll try and get a quick interview in, possibly with pulling Taylor Butcher-Benjamin. He's got a little damage, but that car's been pretty good here tonight. After these guys make their pit stop, of course. And I guess we'll take this moment for a quick word about our sponsor, Alpha Ornamental Metals. We solve your ornamental metal needs, including steel, aluminum, and iron. Also home of the Streamline Railing, located in Chesterfield, Virginia. You can check those guys out at their Facebook page, facebook.com/Alpha Ornamental Metals. And that link is in the chat for you to check those guys out and give them your support, as they have supported this series throughout the season. Taylor Butcher-Benjamin, 4-tire call there. Nobody taking 2 as far as I can tell. It will be Jonathan Hernandez, Matt Cherry, Spencer Tart, and Taylor Butcher-Benjamin works off in the 4th position. Let's see if we can pull Taylor up in here. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. Do you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Adam. Go ahead.
Well, Taylor, you've been up in contention for the majority of the race, even with the front end damage. We saw you really sticking with the 88 earlier. Lost a bit of ground through the pit cycle, but you think you got enough to go up there and challenge for the win tonight?
Yeah, I think I've got a good shot. This caution definitely changed everything. I mean, John, he pretty much had this race locked up if it wasn't for this caution. But I feel like I've got something for these guys. It's been fun battling Matt and Spencer, and I think we're in for a real treat here for this last 20 laps.
Yeah, you guys have been putting on a great show. It's been very exciting to watch and very close, intense racing. But your car's been good. You think the damage has hurt it at all, or you think you're going to be decent here for this long run? Or it's not a totally long run, but I guess like a longer run based on you know, what we had in the first half of the race at least.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I feel like Spencer's car it runs good for about 12, 15 laps, and then it starts to fade a little bit, and I think that's where I was starting to gain some ground on him. But 88, I mean, his car is pretty good throughout the entire run, so hopefully get a good restart here. No, not on the outside, it's not quite the place to be, at least on the takeoff, but hopefully we can excuse me, hopefully we can find a place in line and have a good show and try to get this FedEx number 11 in victory lane at the end of the day.
Yeah, you have one victory on the season. We'll see if you can get your second one here, and I believe you guys are going to get the one to go. So thanks for talking with us quickly, and good luck here in these last few laps.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and that was Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Not sure exactly where he was. He is... he was in here somewhere. Not sure if he was in the driver's lounge or not, but put him back down in there with the Toyota team. But Taylor has a victory on the season. I'm trying to remember where that was. He just missed the playoffs and got a win the next week, so unfortunately just missed out on having a shot to compete for the championship. But if he had done so, he's had some great runs here in the playoffs. With the win, he would have already advanced to the second round, and then we would have to have seen how he would progress from there. But definitely would have been one of our top contenders, but just barely missed out on that picture. It was just, I believe, a handful of points. But the 88 going to lead him to the green flag once again. The 9 of Matt Cherry down low, not a great jump, and the 88 is going to get out in front by 2 or 3 car lengths and lead them down into turn number 1. Under 20 laps to go now, and the 11 trying to find a spot in line. He's going to get shuffled back here behind the 48 machine. Ryan Pizzakemi most likely. Big gap behind him. He'll drop down there. The 48 slides in behind the 8 and the 9. And they are all single file for the moment, but somebody bound to make the move. The 11 jumps up high. Not going to have the run just yet, but the 9 has reeled in Jonathan Hernandez, and he gets a little bit shuffled out of line. Here comes Spencer Tart. We saw almost spin on the last run. We also saw the 9 get very loose on the long run, so these guys struggling with the long run speed, but the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez trying to hold him off here for the short run so he can pull away like he's done each and every run. The 11 of Taylor Butcher Benjamin still trying to get around the 48, but not able to do so. Pizzakemi moves to the 4th spot. Here comes Richard Springer with the push. And they just lost some ground, though, going into turn number 1, trying to make that work. Here comes Spencer Tart, looking low, looking high, nowhere to go as they just push right down against the white line. And they're just hoping that they can shove the 88 into the corner to the point where he has no grip, but it has not worked tonight for any of these guys. Here comes Spencer Tart now to the high line, but nowhere to go as he touches the grass. It's getting very hot and heavy at the front. But who is going to win it? I think Jonathan Hernandez, as long as these guys don't hook him here. That car is so strong on the long run, and the field's going to thin out a little bit, but the top 7 all in contention here with under 20 to go. The 80 or the 48 on the grass there. Able to maintain control, but contact between the 9 and the 8. Oh, and there goes Pizzichemi. Able to hang on to it. What a save. That's going to probably save his playoff chances, or at least remain in contention because of that. But yeah, just a big shakeup now among the top 7. We're kind of down to more like 4 cars. Richard Springer there in the distance. Here comes Spencer Tart after getting that shove from Matt Cherry. 15 to go now. And the 88 of Hernandez remains in the lead. He has led 76 out of the 152 laps, so he will more than definitely take home most laps led, but he's gonna have to fight off Spencer Tart and Matt Cherry for the win. And Taylor Butcher Benjamin right there with them. And anything can happen here. 14 to go now. That 8 car drifting up the track a little. He's starting to lose the front end a little as the 88 has that inside line. Tart trying to fake up high, but just nowhere to go with that run. One of these times he will have to try the outside. Matt Cherry, though, under fire from the 11. They almost made contact. Spencer Tart trying to squeeze the nose down in there. There's just nowhere to go with the run. You can see the 88 has that lane locked down. And the 9 washing way up the track there. Not sure what was going on. He lost the nose coming out of turn number 2. Spencer Tart trying to get air on the right front of that machine. See, is closed right in on the back bumper again and again, but just nowhere to go with the momentum. As the 9 almost losing control, cutting through the grass. He almost makes contact with the 8 again. And things are getting desperate now. They're seeing that they can't get around the 88 just by pushing him, so they're going to have to figure something out. Go around the hard way on the high line. 88 sails it up about a half groove. That gives enough air for the 8 machine. But here comes Matt Cherry down low. He's got the 11 of Butcher Benjamin closing in on his back bumper. Now looks to the inside. He's got room. That pushes the 8 up the track. Now the 9 drifting up. Almost contact. The 8 of Spencer Tart hanging onto it. No, he goes around. Perpendicular on the racetrack, able to keep it. Oh! Close call for Pizzichemi as he was just making his way back down there. The 8 started moving before he probably should have. Obviously frustrated, but should have kept that thing locked down. Let's take a look at what brought out this car. We saw it on camera, but Spencer Tart, Matt Cherry, the 9 dives in there, loses the nose. Drifts way up the racetrack, about a lane and a half, and the 8 hadn't quite tracked out as far as probably Matt had thought, but definitely the 9 drifting up there. The 8, wow, just so close for Brian Pizzichemi. Let's go to his nose cam. See, he's slowed down a lot, and the 8 car almost gets into him. That is, once again, Pizzichemi making the save earlier, and now that close call. He has seen his playoff chances flash before his eyes twice here in about the last 10 laps. So up into 6th position right now, and at the front it is Jonathan Hernandez, about back onto pit road. Actually, we were a little bit behind there with the replay. We'll see if anybody tries staying out or taking 2 tires. There's about a 12-lap run, and I don't see anyone trying the 2 tires yet. The 9 machine rolling off pit road. He's going to try and beat the 88. I don't think he got him, but it was very close. We've Jonathan Hernandez winning the battle off Matt Cherry right there in 2nd. Very good pit stop from that crew, but not quite enough. He needed about 1/10 of a second faster. As we work under caution again, that is caution number 9. We've had 17 lead changes, which is quite a number considering we had 0 for about the first 30 laps. So over the last 120 laps, we've had about 17 lead changes, but Jonathan Hernandez has led the majority of them here tonight, leading, I believe, over half now, or nearly half at this point. That 88 car looking very dominant. No one has really been able to touch him to at least try and pass. They've all been able to get to the bumper, but have not been able to do more than that, as the 88 is just glued to that inside line. And we're going to have less than 10 to go to the end of this event. But who is it going to be, people? Who is it going to be? I think the 88's got this in the bag, but sneaking suspicion that 8 car might be able to sneak back in here. He's only in the 5th spot, not really a whole lot of damage after making contact with the 9. Looks like, yeah, actually looks like Matt Cherry back in the 10th position now, so he is kind of out of the picture. That moves Alan Hunt actually into 3rd, so a great pit stop from that crew. He leapfrogs quite a few drivers. He'll take over the 3rd spot, so see what Alan's got for these top 2. He's been pretty quick here on the short runs, but seems to fade a little bit on the long runs, so lucky for him, it is just a short run here. And we want to thank everybody for tuning in once again. Without the fans here tonight, it would not be possible to bring you this great racing content from the iRacing Fantasy Cup Series. I want to thank our sponsors again, as pace car lights are off. Jonathan Hernandez elects to take the outside line, so we'll see if this works out for him. Now, we are almost done with this thing. This is race number 8 in the playoffs for the iRacing Fantasy Cup Series. Live tonight from Texas Motor Speedway. 160 laps in the books. We'll be taking the green flag here on lap 162. When we complete this lap. Pace car waiting to make that hard left onto the pit lane. And not too many drivers left in contention. Only 12 on the lead lap, with Alex Pelican getting the lucky dog under that last caution. John Jones, first car 1 lap down in 13th position. You can see all those wave around machines as the 88, a great jump there. Pitsakemi also a very good jump behind him, so probably some teammate communication there, working with each other to try and move forward. As he drops in now behind Taylor Butcher Benjamin. We'll see if the 48 has anything to challenge. And the 34 of Alan Hunt throwing a heavy block on Spencer Tart. The 8 machine very quick here on the short runs. We'll see if he can get up there and challenge. But doesn't have the speed out of turn 4 that time. Now jumps back high. 34 trying to throw a block again, but not able to do so. Almost 3 wide. That'll force the 8 way up the racetrack. He now rides right along that quarter panel of the 34. I think if the 8 can get up here, he may have a shot at it. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, though, in a great position to challenge for this thing with 5 to go. Coming to 4 to go. Wrapping up quickly, and the 48 of Pitsakemi is running almost flawless race to put himself in position here for tons of points. As he came into the race 14 points below the cut line, this is going to narrow things up as he almost makes contact with Spencer Tart. The 8 drops in line now, gets a little draft, and he's going to work to the outside. He's fighting for second, sends it into turn 3. And he is trying everything he can to get up there and fight for this win. He's been the closest competitor to the 88 in terms of speed, but the 9 machine goes around Matt Cherry, spinning on the apron. He washes back up into traffic, no caution. This was what happened. It was the 31 machine of Frank Weinset and the 9 The 9 just goes for a 360, and they don't throw the caution. And he's going to lose a lot of ground. And at the front, Spencer Tartt's still fighting, working that outside line. He's going to get some help possibly from the 34 if he can get up there. But the 8 just kind of stalled out now with the 11. 2's inside, 2 to go. Now gets alongside the leader. It's going to be so close. Spencer Tartt really side drafting now. The 11 forcing him up the racetrack. Here he comes with the side draft, pulling on the quarter panel of the 88. Going to try and get the lead away going into turn 3. Very tight racing. But Spencer now able to clear the 11. There's no room to drop in behind the 88, so he is stuck to the outside. White flag in the air. Contact. The top 2. Door bang in there going into turn 1. The 88 down low. Spencer Tartt in that 8 machine up high. What is he going to do here to try and win? He's raced so hard, restarting 5th here. He goes to the outside now in turn 3. Last turns, the 88 down low. Here comes Spencer Tartt. Does he have the run? No, it does not look like it. The 88's going to get there first. Jonathan Hernandez wins at Texas and locks himself into the championship round at Homestead. 88 winning by 0.011 seconds. That is 11 thousandths of a second, the difference there. What a finish. I told you I thought Spencer Tartt could give him a run for his money, and he sure did, but it was not enough. Jonathan Hernandez leading almost 100 laps here. 91 laps. Started on that front row, and he actually lost some ground early on in the race, but when the leaders took each other out, he was able to hang on to that top spot for basically the rest of the race. So congratulations to the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez. Huge congratulations. And we will see if we can bring these guys in for driver interviews straight away. So we'll see if we can pull up Jonathan here. Jonathan Hernandez, this is Adam, the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Well, how about that finish, man? That was that's about as close as it gets, but you had a great car out there. Just kind of give us a rundown of your race.
Yeah, car was phenomenal tonight. It was just, it hooked every single, the track was the way that I wanted it to be. I guess start off with the beginning of the race with the incident with Curtis. All that was on me. I meant to get back behind him, and the nose of the Chevy, since it's pointed out, hooked him by accident. And I know it collected a few playoff drivers, and I just felt bad for it. But with, stage points on the line and everything, I needed to get, all the positions I needed. And then with every single incident and more fast drivers getting taken out, I knew I had a shot. But Spencer and Taylor put up a great fight, along with Brian. Glad he was able to get a top 5, especially with him needing to lock into the next to the championship. Overall, it was a good race. Had a lot of fun. That finish was phenomenal. Couldn't write it any better.
Yeah, 11 thousandths of a second was the difference, and I wasn't sure. I knew Spencer had a good car on the short runs, and he really worked the outside line, was working the side draft as much as he could, and you had the nose out in the clean air there, and it looked like that ultimately paid off. But how much of a relief is it to just lock yourself in with this win and know that you're going to the championship round?
It's a major boost because with Homestead being another mile and a half, it gives me confidence that we could probably bring all the way home. That's 2 weeks away. Now, just trying to relax, get focused on, get prepared for it, especially with Alex being good at mile and a halves, how he usually is, and with the other two not knowing who's going to be yet. It's just all about preparing for that race, but still got ISM. I kind of want to get a win at ISM to get another major confidence booster.
Yeah, that would definitely be a good showing of momentum there with 2 wins in a row going into the final. So do you like that track out there at ISM? I know it's kind of polarizing, and some people love it, some people hate it, but what are your thoughts on going out there?
I think it'll be very, very, I guess, interesting track, especially with this knowing that uh, the package will change different. Even though I believe we had a 750 horsepower engine over there, but the dog leg I know will be a major passing opportunity, and with the cut line being so close and everyone the final six needing wins to advance, it'll just be a crazy race. Probably, hopefully, it'll come down to another finish like this. But I'm just glad we got this over.
Yeah, I'm sure your heart was racing 1,000 miles an hour there, and I was, on the edge of my seat. I didn't know what was going to happen, and you ran basically a flawless race here tonight. You come out on top, second or third victory of the season, so definitely been competitive week in and week out, and you cap it off here. You're headed to Homestead. Anybody you want to give a shout out to that made tonight's win possible?
Well, first off, I want to thank the series sponsors Alpha Ornamental Metals, Rapid Fire Pizza, and Shorewood's iRacing Paints. Without them, like I said, this wouldn't be possible. And having a lot of fun with right now. Also, like to thank, of course, you and the V Speed guys for putting on an awesome broadcast. It's always amazing to watch after. I also like to thank my team. We all did really good, and we were able to get this week everything turning the right ways. Uh, the other 300 guys, Brian, Dakota, and Matt, they all did good today, even though Dakota got taken out. Really proud of Brian and Matt for being able to bring home that amazing top 10. And I like to thank my family for supporting me, and and I'm just ready to go on to the next round.
And we are looking forward to seeing what you can do next week, first of all, and then going into that championship race. So congratulations once again on the victory. Third of the season, dominating performance here tonight. So go celebrate, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Alrighty, Adam, you take it easy.
Thank you, you too. That was your winner here tonight, Jonathan Hernandez. Let's go to second place finisher Spencer Tart. As we bring him here now into the booth. Spencer, you got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, Spencer, I asked the fans at the that started that little run there at the very end who they thought was going to win, and it looked like Jonathan almost had it in the bag, but I knew you were going to be a sneaky pick coming from fifth there, and just not quite enough. What did you have to do differently to maybe get the nose out in front?
No, I think if we could have pinched a little bit more in 3 and 4 and kept them down on the apron, maybe we would have had a chance. But on the outside, when you're both wide open, it's pretty tough to get anything done on the top side. And we got a lot more than I thought we would on the top side, but just not close enough.
You worked that to pretty much perfection, though. I saw some pretty solid side drafting there. It really did work for you. And you had a good car all night. Definitely good on the short runs. Were you struggling a little on the long runs as we got those towards the end of the race?
Yeah, I was just a little bit off on the long runs, set up for the short runs. Not as much downforce on the car, so it wasn't as good on the long run compared to some of those guys like Jonathan, who I don't know what he had, but his car was great. So it was just hard to keep up with them, and I was making a few mistakes. I hadn't ran this week, so yeah, just not bad.
Yeah, I would say you ran a very solid race. The one mistake cutting through the grass there on the front straightaway, obviously, you were able to keep the car underneath you the whole time and get back up there and stay inside the top 5. So it didn't set you back too far, but did you think it was lost at that point? You would have no chance of getting there?
I figured I could at least get back up to second or third. I knew we had enough speed after the pit cycles that I'd be able to catch back up, but Jonathan got out so far that I didn't think anybody would catch them without a caution, and then we did get that caution, so it was a lucky break, and then gave us a pretty good finish there at the end.
Yeah, definitely exciting. It was 11 thousandths the gap, so
Wow.
about as close as it could be. So you gave us an incredible show out there, and definitely a great run for you tonight. But we head to ISM next week. What are your thoughts on going out there?
Well, it's I don't know whether it's a short track or an intermediate, but I've always liked tracks you got to use a little bit of brake for, so looking forward to that track. It should be a good time.
Yeah, and the RCR cars have been pretty good on these shorter tracks. I remember, I think he had a great run going. Maybe it was Iowa or Richmond, one of those two. So not a totally, it's a pretty different track, I guess, but in the same realm. So we'll look forward to seeing what you can do there. But any shout outs you want to give for tonight's second place run?
Yeah, for sure. I got to shout out everybody at RCR. I got to thank my other team, S2R, the guys over there, great guys, and everybody in the league for putting this on. You guys for broadcasting. Fatal Concepts Designs does all the paint work, and Rapid Fire Pizza, Jacob Short of iRacing Paints, all those guys.
Awesome, Spencer. Well, great run here tonight. Thanks for putting on a great show for us, and we'll catch you next week at ISM.
Thank you.
All right, that was Spencer Tart, second place finisher here tonight. We're going to bring up our third place finisher, Taylor Butcher Benjamin. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Adam.
Well, Taylor, it looked like it maybe wasn't going to work out for you with the way the pit cycle was going there, but you got a couple shots at the end. Was the damage on the nose just a little bit too much for you to get up to Jonathan?
Well, I didn't have any additional repairs after that little deal with the 9 and Spencer, but I definitely got, I guess I'd say, kind of a break with the 9 getting the NEOL, but I knew once, Hernandez, you've been picking the top side all night, and there's only one reason to really be doing that is to take off early. So I thought I got a good restart, which, I mean, I was able to at least drop in right behind him. And I was going to wait for a little bit because he had the 48, his teammate, behind him, and I knew he wouldn't go with me. He would stick with him. And then here comes Spencer up the outside, and I lost my opportunity to jump up there myself. But that was a heck of a finish. I was kind of, holding my breath there because I didn't know if they were going to go crazy through 3 and 4, come to the checkers, or what was going to happen. But it was a great run for myself, and definitely shout out to John. He definitely had the car to beat, and now he's got a chance to go to Homestead and win the championship, perhaps.
Yeah, and you said you were holding your breath. We were holding ours up here for you guys, and definitely was exciting. Three cars inside of a tenth of a second of each other, with the top two there separated by 11 thousandths, and you were only 90 thousandths back, so it's not like you were a long ways behind. So you had a great race overall inside the top 5, and how much does this make you wish that you had just barely edged into the chase? Because I think you would have been in contention at this point.
Yeah, it's just one little mistake at Darlington, running too much tape and ended up blowing the motor, and that's what it finished where I was running before I blew it up. I mean, it's all right. I'm more focused on just going out there and having fun and try to win the race in this league, and certainly looking forward to next season if things stay like they are right now.
Yeah, I'd say since the start of the chase or the playoffs here, you've been pretty much on fire. I mean, you were before, but that really the Darlington race, like you said, that set you back a little bit farther than was able to be overcome. But you got a win in this playoff series, and then also lots of top 10s and top 5s. So I think you'll definitely be a contender. So should be a big confidence booster for you moving forward. And next week we're going to ISM. What are your thoughts on going to that track?
Kind of, I like it, but I just, I'm kind of in a situation where I enjoy the track, but I'm not very good there, if you know what I mean. So hopefully I can come up with a good setup for this week and kind of learn. I'm not that great in 1 and 2 because it's a really interesting entrance to that corner. So hopefully getting some practice this week and see what we can come up with. And we know how hairy the restarts are going to be with that dog leg, people going 5 and 6 wide perhaps. So it'll be another good show, and hope I can come up with another solid run.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep our eye on you next week and see if you can follow up on tonight's third place. Anybody you want to give a quick shout out to before we let you go celebrate?
I'll definitely rapid fire pizza for what they do for the league. Jacob and Brandon and all those guys, Blake Reynolds and Richard Clement for being race control, and everyone who joins the league. And I mean, these are fun races to be a part of when people, kind of have their act together. And I'd like to thank also Dr. Squatch and Top Flight Computers for coming on board with me. Teammates in JGR, I know and also the rest of my Toyota affiliates, they kind of had a rough night. But I guess I'm kind of pleased to be able to carry the torch for them. And definitely you, Adam, for putting on the broadcast for everybody to watch.
Well, awesome, Taylor. Thanks for that, and great job on the third place finish here tonight. Started 13th. You did lead a lap, so that's still something for you there, and you were right there in contention at the end. So go celebrate. We'll catch up with you next week at ISM.
I appreciate it, man. You have a good night, and see you next week.
All right, thank you. That was Taylor Butcher Benjamin, third place finisher. Let's go back to the winner tonight, Jonathan Hernandez. And let's bring up our results here tonight, and then we're going to talk through the points scenario based on what we saw here in tonight's event. Winner of tonight's race, locking himself into Homestead, Jonathan Hernandez, that 88 machine. A great run, leading 91 laps, and just really dominant performance. Spencer Tart comes up just a tiny bit short, just about a foot short. 11 thousandths the difference between those two drivers, the 88 and the 8. And Spencer Tart will come home second. Taylor Butcher Benjamin third. Brian Pizzakemi, the second highest playoff driver in the finishing order. He's going to get a lot of points here, and he's going to be much closer to the cut line than he was coming into the event. Alan Hunt comes home with a nice solid top 5 finish. Great run by him. Richard Springer comes home 6th. Chris Hansen 7th. 8th was Christopher White. 9th was Ryan Strunk. And rounding out the top 10 was Frank Wineset. In 11th, it was Alex Pelican, who's already locked into Homestead. He ends up on the lead lap, so recovered somewhat and finishes outside the top 10 there in 11th. Matt Cherry comes home in 12th. Brandon Andrews finishes in 13th, the first car 1 lap down. Jacob Shorba 14th, 1 lap down. John Jones 15th here. Chris Etchpair 16th. Jordan Brockle 17th. Justin Carey 18th. 19th was Eric Wineland, so he actually got quite a few positions by coming back out on track. And Cody Jordan rounds out the top 20. In 21st, it was Alex Link. 22nd was Tim Williams. 23rd was Curtis Valenzuela. So not a great night for some of these guys. Dusty Applin finishes in 24th. Christopher Hill 25th. And rounding out the field was Dakota Jorgensen in the 26th position. Both he and Christopher Hill 153 laps off the pace. But let's take a quick look at our point scenario coming into tonight's event. Alex Pelican was locked in. Jonathan Hernandez now locks himself in. Jacob Shorba and Eric Wineland, not great runs here tonight. Wineland comes home 19th, but Brian Pizzakemi, who is only 14 points behind him, I think is going to jump up into that 4th spot with all the other playoff drivers suffering issues here tonight. I think it will be just a swap probably between 4th and 5th. Jacob Shorba may maintain a decent gap to the cut line, but we will have to see once the points are all finalized. But that's kind of the status moving into next week at ISM. But of course, tonight's race at Texas 167 presented by Alpha Ornamental Metals. We want to thank you all for tuning in here tonight. And we will be back streaming on Monday night. We'll be over on YouTube. You can actually check us out at V-Speed Media, where we're going to be broadcasting the Ford Entertainment Group iRacing Flea Market Championship race at Homestead. So that's going to be the end of that series. And there's going to be, I think they have 5 or 6 drivers in contention to win it over there. So somebody's going to come home with a brand new custom built PC. And that is going to be an awesome thing to watch those guys go at it out there at Homestead. So tune in for sure over on YouTube on Monday. But you can always catch us here on Twitch for the iRacing Fantasy National and Cup Series, as well as the Norse Force Valhalla Cup Series, and the Raider SK Modifieds. That's going to be next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, as we are closing in on the end of the Nationals and the Cup Series here for the iRacing Fantasy Series. You can also find us on Facebook, where we announce each and every broadcast before we go live, and also on Instagram and Twitter, where we post some of those same announcements, as well as new merchandise and special events. If you didn't follow yet here tonight, we'd appreciate you doing so, or consider subscribing. You can get access to exclusive emotes and be able to skip the ads that we run under our caution breaks. And you get listed in that group of exclusive fans. So that's something that would really help support us. But we appreciate tuning in. Nonetheless, hope you enjoyed the broadcast, and we will be back once again on Monday on YouTube with the Ford Entertainment Group iRacing Flea Market Series. And until then, everybody stay safe and have a great rest of your weekend.